Hello, thanks for joining me. This is Revelation for September. Today is Sunday, September 18th, and we'll be looking at the 18th chapter in the book of the Revelation to John. In chapter 18, we have an angel with a lot of authority, who in his vision, John sees this angel descend from heaven and say, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon," lamenting, sort of a lament sound. However, this is a celebration for the people who are following God, because Babylon's a bad guy, right? Or girl. Babylon is positioned as a woman in this, with those kind of pronouns, and as the whore of Babylon. So fallen, fallen is Babylon, the haunt of this city is the haunt of every foul spirit, a haunt of every foul bird, which I thought was kind of funny because it's foul with a U, not foul with a W. Foul bird. Anyway, a haunt of every foul and hateful beast. Bad place to be. Bad place to be. Bad people there. So the angel is talking about fallen Babylon, the dwelling place of demons. This is not the place anybody wants to be. And of course, the worst sin stacked up against her, the city, is fornication, which translates to this infidelity, the worshiping of other gods, of not being faithful to the one true God. And that's a huge, huge, huge sin and emphasis for John here. So this infidelity, this unwillingness or inability to be faithful to the one true God, but adopting all the other gods and enticing leaders from other places and all kinds of things to be worshiping other things that Christians at the time would believe, and we would too, that are dead. They don't even exist, but they're worshiping all these false gods. And that's the heart of this fornication, infidelity, what have you. And then there is this opportunity for redemption, perhaps. And then another angel, the different voice from heaven, maybe it was an angel, maybe it was somebody else, that's kind of something to examine, because we hear this angel with authority say about fallen Babylon and how bad she is, and all these details about how bad the kings of the earth, the merchants of the earth. And then another voice from heaven said, "Come out of her, my people." So she's a city. Come out of her and do not take part in her sins. So to me, that's this somebody saying, don't stay here, don't be in this place, because there's a great calamity that's going to befall her. But my people, they hear my voice. They know who I am. Oh, have you seen this? This isn't in the scripture, but this is sort of implied. This is Jesus talking about the shepherd. The sheep know my voice. So this, maybe it's Jesus. This just as a voice from heaven says, "Come out of her, my people." And I really like this because it's sort of like a glow of redemption. Like the people who are still stuck there on the earth, all this calamity, they haven't died yet. And there's some redemption for them. They're invited to come out of this city and not participate in what she's doing any longer. After that invitation is made, it goes back to what her punishment is going to be, how guilty she, being Babylon, the city, actually Rome, we know that, is going to be punished. And then there's a triple dirge. There's 3 dirges. They're adapted from the book of Ezekiel, Ezekiel 27. There's the first one of the kings of the world. They look upon this city that is burning to the ground, and they say, "Alas, alas, the great city, your 1 hour of judgment has come." So all this calamity befalls Babylon in 1 hour. That's one of everything. We always had other markers of time, like remember the 3.5 years, the days, the months, or the 3.5 years. So here we have 1 hour. 1 hour to get all of this taken care of for the judgment of Babylon. But the three dirges are similar. So they all start with the type alas. Alas, the great city. The first one is of the kings lamenting this vision of Babylon burning. The second one is the merchants of wares, and then that goes into detail about all kinds of things that they sell, and it's a lot of stuff. And they say, alas, alas, the great city, clothed in fine linen and jewels, and they talk about all the things that they would sell, and that's how they would profit, was because of that city. They'd profit basically off the sin of the city. The kings would participate in the sin with the city. And so then we have a third dirge. After the kings and the merchants, we have a third dirge that comes to us from the shipmasters and the seafarers, the sailors. And it's the mariners, which we're going to call it the mariner trades. They say, alas, alas, the great city, where all who had ships at sea grew rich by her wealth. For in 1 hour she has been laid waste. And then heaven rejoices. Heaven rejoices for the saints and the apostles and the prophets, for God has given judgment against Babylon. And then at the very end and most of this is, remember we talked about in the beginning how this was supposed to be something that's read out loud in a worship service. So what you'll see is this is poetically written out, probably in your Bibles as well. If you have one of the more traditional translations, I would say. And the very end of it, in you was found the blood of prophets and saints who have been slaughtered on the earth, and all who have been slaughtered on the earth. And so there is the righteous who are not guilty, who've also been slaughtered and been found in that city. And so not only have you done the fornication, not only have you been unfaithful to God, but you've actually slaughtered the saints and the prophets. And that's on you. That's going to be, their blood will be on your head. And that's sort of the very end of this chapter. It is the very end of this chapter where this indictment about, what did I call it? The angel condemns the city where the blood of the saints and prophets was found. And that's sort of implied that blood is on your hands and on your head. And so therefore, 1 hour and you're done. And that city crumbles to the ground. It burns to the ground. And all these characters around it who profited and benefited and thought everything was cool are lamenting that this city is no more. There is rejoicing in heaven because the judgment of this city has come down. And now, I mean, if you're reading this and you know this is a veiled threat at Rome, you're thinking, okay, this is how we triumph. This is how we win in the end. And some of us may not live to see it. The very last verse I talked about, the blood of the slaughtered of the earth, the prophets and the saints. So this is John's way to encourage them to say that, come out of this bad city. Don't be a part of this anymore. Go with the faithful. Be with the faithful. And don't worship the gods that the Romans tell you to worship.